All right, so Congresswoman Bachmann, welcome to the Subway Series. You know,
Thank you. Welcome to Iowa.
Well, this is the first time we've had the Subway Series here on the D line in Des Moines.
Well, isn't that great? Yeah. It's about time.
Did I just hear you declare you're running for president? I heard you say, and I think I got the words right, I am in for 2012.
I'm in for 2012 in that I want to be a part of the conversation of making sure that President Obama only serves one term, not two. Because I want to make sure that we get someone who's going to be making the country work again. That's what I'm in for, to work is that. But I haven't made a decision yet to announce, obviously, if I'm a candidate or not, but I'm in for the conversation.
So help me out, though. Are you leaning towards running? Is it likely, more likely, less likely?
You want to be the first to know?
I really do want to be the first to know. And, you know, not only the decision, but where you're leaning.
Well,
I mean, it seems to me like you're gearing up.
By this summer, we'll make a decision one way or another, and I might make the decision before that. But by this summer, I think that's probably the cutoff time. There's a straw poll here in Iowa that's in August, and I think it's important for a candidate to be a part of that straw poll. So we'll see.
All right. So, what is the likelihood that President Obama gets reelected? What's your sense?
I think that right now, if the election were today, I don't think that the president would be reelected. I don't think he would. But of course, you know, polling changes day to day. But I think people are very disappointed. They're very disappointed in the economy. They're very disappointed that we aren't seeing private job creation as a result of the $1 trillion stimulus.
Okay, what about Libya? Are we at war with Libya?
The Libyan question is a very interesting one because we don't see any overarching strategic plan coming out of the president. I look at the Libyan situation, and I think it's very concerning. This is a big decision to have an American commitment into an engagement, particularly in Libya. Libya has not been friendly historically to the United States. We've had some common cause later, but I think that this is an effort where we're now engaged in Iraq and Afghanistan, and to extend our troops into a third venue with no overriding goal, no overriding objective, and no ending point, I think is very dangerous.
Is it unconstitutional, what the president's done in Libya?
Well, the president didn't come to Congress and ask our permission. That's what Barack Obama said the problem was with George Bush in the war in Iraq. He said the president failed to come to Congress to get permission.
So what about now, though? I mean, did the president have the constitutional authority to do this, or do you think this was an unconstitutional action?
Well, I think that the war in Iraq is one where we have learned from that effort. And unfortunately, it seems that the president has not learned from that effort because, again, he stated that one of his problems is the fact that George Bush failed to go to the United States Congress first.
Congressman Kucinich says that this is blatantly unconstitutional and in fact, possibly an impeachable offense to go to war without authorization from Congress in this manner.
That's why
do you agree with that?
It's ironic.
But do you agree with that? I mean, does he have the constitutional authority to go to war like this?
I think if you look strictly at the Constitution and what the Constitution requires and allows, and of course there have been laws that have been passed since then, War Powers Act and various pieces of legislation, the intention is that Congress would be the one to make the decision about whether or not wars are declared.
Back to 2012, you said that if you decide to run, the first thing you'll do is produce your birth certificate.
I do have a sense of humor.
Okay, so that was a joke.
Yeah, I do have a sense of humor.
All right,
I take the president at his word. The president has said, you know, where his birth is. That was a sense of humor.
Right. Did you see what Mitt Romney has now said about health care? He says that if he were elected president, the first thing he would do is executive order that says the states can opt out of the health care law. Is that a satisfactory approach to you?
Well, I think Governor Romney needs to speak for himself on what he would do. I can tell you what I would do.
I know you would repeal the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrel.
I would repeal the bill because that is the only way we can do it. If each state was given waivers, that still would not do away with the Obamacare legislation because the federal law trumps. And that is my concern, the fact of what the federal law does. But I'm not quarreling with Governor Romney. I think
is Governor Romney a good messenger on this? I mean, given that, you know, as the president's told us repeatedly, in many ways the national health care law was modeled after what Governor Romney put in place in Massachusetts.
Well, I think Governor Romney's comments speak for themselves.
Now, another potential candidate that's been talked about, you've probably heard a little buzz on this, is Sarah Palin. Would you run against Sarah Palin for president? I mean, could you envision doing that?
I love Sarah Palin. I love her. She is a wonderful individual, and I'm privileged. I'm privileged to have gotten to know her.
Yeah.
And she's a lovely individual. She really is. And my decision will be based on whether or not I think that I need to run.
Now, few people talk more about the founders and about American history than you do. And obviously you got into a little bit of a mix-up up in New Hampshire. Can you tell us what that was all about when you were talking about Lexington and Concord being in New Hampshire?
Well, that's old news now.
Okay, we've already
dealt with it. And again, I've got, I believe in having a sense of humor about things because people make mistakes. When you speak in public as much as a person who is in the public realm or considering running for office, you make a lot of speeches. And clearly I made a mistake.
Because you had Obama's teleprompter, you said.
I promised I would never use Obama's teleprompter again.
Okay.
I made a promise and I'm going to stick to it.
And you're not going to compromise on this stuff. I mean, for instance, even this government funding bill that we're looking at now.
Which one?
We've
got a lot of them.
The one for the rest of the year, for the rest of the fiscal year. You've said no funding for Planned Parenthood, no funding for the health care law. Are you willing to see the government shut down if that's what it takes? I mean, if a bill can't get passed without that, you're still a no, right?
No one wants to see the government shut down. That is not our purpose. But I also think it's important that people know what a government slowdown, because that's what it is. The government does not shut down. It's important for your viewers that they know the truth about this. When you have a so-called government shutdown, which is actually a government slowdown, all the essential services of government continue.
And you're willing to fight this all the way, even if it means government shutdown or, as you say, government slowdown. Whatever. We go all out because your leadership's already been willing to compromise on this.
That's what the people are asking us to do, and so we need to do what the American people sent us to Washington D.C. to do. So we need to be true to our word, and we need to fight for what they want.
All right, Congresswoman Bachmann, you will let us know whether or not you're going to run for president.
I will.
Okay. Got that word right here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On the D-line.